Modular synthesizers. Modular synthesizers. Synthesizers built from individual modules. Modular synthesizers. Isn't the point of a modular synthesizer exactly that? To be modular? Isn't it a format for musicians, enthusiasts, whoever, to curate the individual components of their instrument and forge relationships that are unique and meaningful to them? Well, if that's the premise, then what's the point of a self-contained modular synthesizer voice? They seem to be sprouting up all over the place these days, from the semi-modular or standalone synthesizer with CV gate, a bunch of 3.5mm connection opportunities like the Moog Mother 32 or the Dope for Dark Energy, to full-fledged Eurorack modules that take up a decent chunk of space in our cases. So what's the deal? Why on earth might anyone want a whole synthesizer voice contraption in their precious modular synthesizer case? I will spare you the history of synthesizers. I think everybody knows that they used to be the size of a football field and took a professor to operate them. And they were called mini, but they were still really huge. And by the end of the 70s, they were starting to get really small and really portable, but then everything went digital, along with our vision of the utopian future where everybody had enough food, shelter, healthcare, education. We were going to go around in flying cars and live on the moon. It all went into an alternate version of the future that I don't think anyone expected. So from there until now, the fledgling love of analog devices and one knob per function schematics has gone from two weird guys alone on opposite ends of the planet in their basements talking to themselves to a growing movement of people all across every continent getting really interested in making unique, pure, beautiful, and encouraging sounds from devices with analog oscillators, filters, amplifiers, envelopes, and all kinds of exciting relationships that can be created between them. So here we are. And what's the point? The Eurorack synth voice is a lot of things. It's a standalone monophonic synthesizer, something which can come with you in your live case. It doesn't need a case of its own like an SH-101 or a NAT might need. It's a composition tool for just grabbing and writing instead of getting lost in your patch and forgetting why you turned your synthesizer on in the first place. It's a gateway to polyphony. This means that with a modular synthesizer, in order to make chords or play more than one note at once, the musician needs to have one of everything per voice. So just to play a rudimentary 3-note chord, we need at least 3 oscillators, 3 filters, 3 VCAs, 3 envelopes. You have to have 3 inputs on a mixer to plug it into, and then you need to split your CV and gate signal out to 3 destinations. It's a lot of patching, a lot of precious modular synth real estate just to get done with what most synthesizers can do these days without patching anything at all. I'm not going to try to justify why anyone would want to make a chord or play polyphonically with a monophonic synthesizer, but you know what? We do. Even if you don't right now, at some point you'll hear something, you'll be playing away and you'll ask yourself, I wonder how I could do this. And then you wish you had 3 cases of what you have right now. You'll stop making music, start pouring over modules on modular grid. You'll buy something you're positive is going to be perfect, instantly regret it, and you'll then sell it for way less than you paid for it. You'll buy something else, and you'll do this so many times over and over and over again that your partner will eventually just leave you. And in 45 years, you'll be in a basement spacecraft talking to yourself. It's the relative state of a great many musical adventurers, and I don't want this to happen to you. So let me introduce you to the Frequency Central device. The device is a Eurorack synthesizer voice, and in 22 HP it combines the System X VCO, which is based on the Roland System 100M oscillator, the Raging Bull filter, which is a 2-input low-pass filter based on the Moog Taurus with a built-in VCA, and the System X ADSR envelope, which is a snappy, amazing little envelope. A few things are normal together for instant gratification, but what's unique about this voice is that since it's a combined set of individual modules, each piece of the device is accessible on its own. So you can plug CV into the input and add gate to the envelope and play away. Or you can send the outputs of the VCO off to any filter you like. You can patch the envelope as something else. You can use the filter by itself in a totally different situation. While this is also true of many Eurorack synth voices, it doesn't really seem like it. There's a psychology to a synthesizer voice versus the individual module, which I've personally found daunting. Often leaves me remarking that I've added this huge piece into my precious case and I never really explore it or only use it for one thing. So I really appreciate the autonomy of each piece in the device. I guess you could say I relate to it. I'm partial to the synthesizer voice. I began my adventures in Eurorack by way of the Dope for Dark Energy. I imagined it as an affordable version of the SH-101 in a way, and I thought I'd use it for making analog bass in my live performances. And I did, and I loved it very much. I kept eyeing these extra 1/8" connection points and wondering about them. Eventually, I did a little research, and I found a person who'd taken the Dark Energy and added a couple of VCOs in a Dope for Mini case, and then added a filter and a VCA and was playing chords with it. I got really excited. I hastily ordered the modules and the mini case, connected them together, and this more or less awakened this Eurorack-loving beast inside of me. But my love for the individual standalone devices remains a very strong component of my musical life. While I personally strive to integrate polysynths and monosynths into orchestrated compositions, I've rarely been impressed with a polysynth version of a monosynth voice. And yet, with the device, I'm not stuck in any one configuration. I really love the Raging Bull filter. Look, anyone who was at the Tropical Boat Party in Los Angeles last fall knows that between the exquisite depth of this filter, the amazing fun of the Mystic Circuit 0HP attenuator, and the LED flashlight, we really lifted that boat like up out of the water and visited another planet together. Wow. By adding the device, I haven't lost space, and I'm not forced to use it as my primary or secondary voice, but rather I've gained another envelope, which is fast and fun, another VCO, which I always need, and it is addressable in a way that I like without feeling obliged or to produce a particular sound with it. I also like having the device in my rack because, like the Atlantis or the 8106, I can reach for them and use them as harmonic content, or quickly create chords, or use them another sequencer and produce secondary melody and develop and unfold musical compositions without the need for 3 or 4 times the amount of hardware and try to sneak onto the airplane without having to check it. Look, I love the Frequency Central device. It's a distinct sound, and it's a brilliant addition to my Eurorack modular experience. Get down.